All right then, so now let's go ahead and create this animated radio button with this glider effect, right? So mostly we use this for tab sections, right? So let's go ahead and create this awesome glider effect UI for the radio button. So I'm going to break it step by step parts, and so that you can understand and build it piece by piece just by using pure HTML and CSS, right? So I'm going to close all these things and collapse everything. Just duplicate this last project and rename this folder as 6UI and get into the index.html, and I'm going to collapse, delete this, get into the assets CSS, delete this complete radio section, keep it clean. This is going to be animated radio button with glider effects, right? Right after here, now the first thing is we need to bring the basic radio button and its labels, right? So we can start with the HTML skeleton structure first. So for that, first I'm going to bring the radio container. So let's bring the radio container. Inside the radio container, we need to bring the input and the label. So input, the type which is going to be the radio type, and the name of the button which is going to be the radio, and the ID of that button is going to be radio hyphen free. Then this, by default, this one it needs to be checked. So that's the thing, that's the default button, it needs to be selected. So free is the selected one. Then I need to bring the label for this particular ID, radio free, right? Then inside I'm going to bring the text free. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it 2 more times. This time type radio, name it's also going to be the radio only, no changes in that. But ID, instead of this free, I'm going to change this into basic and change this over here as basic. Then let's change it over here both, which is going to be premium. Please make sure to change over here and as well as here. Then change this into premium, something like that. Now if you get back over here and if I get in, refresh this project and load the 6.1, this is how it looks. Everything is being checked, so I just need to remove the check for this, remove the check for this. Now the free is the selected one. So now we have the basic structure for this particular glider effect scenario, right? So let's go ahead and start customizing the basic layout styles. So all we have to do, we have to stack the labels vertically and hide the default radio appearances. So right after here, I have to bring this radio container, create dot radio container, display needs to be flex, and the flex direction needs to be the column, and the padding left needs to be 8 pixels. Now this is how it looks. Then a dot radio container, inside that I do have this input. For that appearance, I'm going to make it as none. I don't need the default appearances. Then I need to target the radio container label, which is inside that radio container division, padding, which is going to be 1 or EM. Now I have some enough space between them, and then cursor needs to be the pointer. Then the color needs to be the gray color. That's how it looks. Then the transitions effects for each and every stuff which is inside that, 0.3 seconds ease in out, right? That's how it looks. Then I need to target the radio container input, which is checked. If it is checked, then I need to target that label. I need to mark that one as the highlighted one, F7E479, something like that. See, now the checked one is changed into the colors. It's changing their colors perfectly. Then now we need to add the glider element to it, right? So we need to add the glider element. So where you have to add the glider element, which is exactly inside your radio container, right after here, I need to add the glider element. So dot glider container, inside here I need to say dot glider. These are the things. Okay, so now we have the glider elements inside. Next I need to add the glider stylings now. So we now create a glowing vertical bar that moves according to the selected input, just exactly what we have, right? So for that, I'm going to bring uh, inside the radio container. This is the radio container, right? So inside that radio container, we need to add few more colorings, and we need to add the positions for that radio container. So here, right after here, I'm just going to say hyphen hyphen main. These are this is how you used to create a variable in the CSS, so we can access this wherever we wanted, right? And the reason why we are using the variable name is, think about it, if you want to change the color for this particular project according to your UI, you don't have to go to that very specific targeted CSS classes and change the colors and text colors everywhere. Just use the variable name, change the variable values, it will reflect instantly every places. That's the reason we are creating the variable name. So F7 E4 79, save it. Then what we need to do, we need to bring the main color opacity, main color with opacity, which is basically, it's going to be hash F7 E4 791C. Save it. Then we need to bring the total radio buttons. How many radio buttons? Total radio, which is going to be 3. Then I need to bring the position, which is going to be the relative positions, right? These are the things. Now I need to target the glider container. Copy it. And let me get back over here. Dot glider container. Position needs to be the absolute position. Then left needs to be pinned, and top needs to be pinned, and bottom also needs to be pinned, right? And the width, which is going to be 1 pixel, and then background, which is going to be linear gradient, 0 degree, needs to be transparent, and I need to bring the color 1B, 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 transparent. Save it. And now I should be able to see this color over here, a slight single line. Let me increase the width so you can see it clearly, 5 pixels, so you can see that, see, but I don't need 5 pixels. I'm going to keep it as 1 pixel. Then I need to target the glider, which is inside that. I'm going to use the calc function. Out of 100%, divide the variable by using total radio, how many number of buttons, divided by using the total 100% of height. So it will automatically divide, basically the division, or the height can be calculated automatically just by using the total number of radio buttons. So background, linear gradient, 0 degree, comma, transparent, then variable of main color, then transparent. Save it. So that's how it looks. See, you can see the color of changes of that, right? Then I need to add the transitions, which is going to be transform 0.5 seconds, cubic bezier 0.37, 1.95, 0.66, 0.56. Save it. Now when I change it, still the glider is not changing properly, and I need to make sure this position as a relative position, right? So next what I need to do is I need to add the glider before and the after effect. So before that, please make sure everything is perfectly fine. Color, okay, glider container, position, left, top and bottom, width fine, background linear gradient perfectly fine, glider, calculate the height, total radio, background, which is going to be linear gradient, 0 degree, transparent, main color transparent, and the transitions, which is for transform 0.5 transform 0.5 cubic bezier. Okay, position relative. Then let's target the glider colon before, open it, position absolute, then content needs to be empty, then top needs to be 50 percentage, then left needs to be minus 50, left needs to be minus 50 percentage, then width needs to be 300 percentage, then height needs to be 60 percentage, then background needs to be variable of main color, then filter I need to blur 10 pixels, transform translate y minus 50 percentage. All right, now we can see we having that glow effect over there. Okay, then we need to target the after. So dot glider colon after, open it, position needs to be absolute, then content needs to be empty, left needs to be 0, and width of course it's going to be 150 pixels, then height of course it's going to be 100 percentage of the height, and the background which is going to be linear gradient, we need to rotate it into 90-degree. Then I'm going to use the variable of the main color with opacity, then I'm going to use the transparent, save it. That's how it looks, which is perfectly fine, right? So now the most important thing is, now when I change the button, it's just changing the color of the label, not your that glider. It's not changing according to it, right? So in order to do that, what I need to do is I need to make sure the glider needs to follow according to your selections. So dot radio container input colon nth of type, use this function nth of type 1. If it is checked, if that one is checked, then dot glider container dot glider needs to transform from translate y 0 percentage. If the one is selected, it needs to be highlighted on the top. Then I'm gonna say copy this, paste it 2 more times. If they 2 and 3, if 2 is selected, transform it to 100 percentage. See, now it's changed. If the 3 is selected, now change it into 200 percentage. Now you can see, you have this nice cubic bezier animation, and the glider is following perfectly according to your glider selection, right? So this is all about that glider effect animation, which is working perfectly smooth as possible, and it is completely like what is it, fixed, right? Because we have only 3 radio buttons, and based on the 3 radio buttons only we fixed the total number. So but if you are going for dynamic, then that's a little bit hectic, because you need to define these variables and all those things in your local file. Then you need to work on that, right? This is static for the 3 different gliders, right? Think about it. If you are might have a possibilities of 10 to 20, then you need to write the styles for all the 10 to 20 styles over here. Then you need to, otherwise based on this total radio size, you need to re-render it, right? That's different part of section, but this is all about the glider UI, right? So let's move on to the next section.